Hello, good morning and welcome to NewsDesk. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125 across all our social media handles or Joy News on TV. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, severe dry spell devastates northern region farms, raising fears over food security in the area.
Of food, we stand to face a challenge of food shortage or insecurity somewhere next year.
We'll bring you a situational report live from Tamale. Also in this bulletin, health authorities in the Bono East region are raising concerns over the increasing number of maternal mortalities in the area.
For 2020, the number of women who died giving birth per 100,000 live birth was 95, for 2024, 73.
And later, the governing New Patriotic Party condemns the opposition NDC for pulling out of the peace pact, which has now become a regular election ritual, describing it as a defeatist tactic. We'll hear from the Peace Council and the Catholic Bishop Conference, which says they are looking into the concerns raised by the NDC. We have this plus business within the next 60 minutes. Please be my guest. Let's start with politics. The New Patriotic Party has condemned the National Democratic Congress decision to pull out of the peace pact, which has now become a regular election ritual. In a 10-point statement signed by the NPP General Secretary, the party accused the NDC of beating the drums of war. Before we bring you excerpts of that statement, let's listen to the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, detail the party's reason for not wanting to sign any peace declaration this year.
The declaration don't mean anything to us.
A peace declaration? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything to you?
It doesn't mean anything to us because all previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. If you allow violence to be brewed, you have violence, whether you sign declaration or not. And so that is why, for more than a year ago, I started talking about the need for us to remove the building blocks for violent elections. So at any stage, when something is happening, I call on those who in future will call us to sign declarations to speak up so that we stop this particular thing from happening. Otherwise, if you allow all those things to build up, and you say that let us go and play peace football match. Let us sign declaration. Let us do this with the hope that we will get a peaceful election. Peaceful election will not happen because we did all this in 2020. All this and more in 2020. Council of State, Peace Council, everybody was involved. Signing declarations left, right, center. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the whole of the Fourth Republic.
So this year, not
so
signing.
So it tells you that signing or no signing is not the issue.
Well, the governing New Patriotic Party has been reacting to these comments. On your screens now is a statement from the party signed by its General Secretary. It says the NPP finds the comments of the NDC National Chairman very unfortunate and condemns it in no uncertain terms, given the worrying and incendiary nature of the statement. Well, we have noted with concern that the leadership of the NDC has gained notoriety for consistently beating the drums of war and preparing the minds of their supporters to reject the outcome of the 2024 general election foreseeing their inevitable loss. The NPP wishes to make a passionate appeal to the NDC to reconsider their posture by reason of the national interest and desist from making statements likely to fuel tension in the political atmosphere with far-reaching implications for the peace and security of our dear country. They go on to say, we wish to reiterate our firm assurance to the Ghanaians that the NPP remains solemnly committed in words and in deeds to maintaining the peace and stability of this country before, during, and after the 2024 elections, and will accept its outcome in good faith. They go on to say, while we reiterate our commitment to signing the 2024 election peace declaration with alacrity, we call on the National Peace Council, civil society organizations, religious and traditional authorities to indeed all well-meaning Ghanaians to join us in condemning the statement by the NDC national chairman and to urge the party to use appropriate channels to resolve any grievances. Finally, they say, we want to remind the NDC that Ghanaians are peace-loving people, and by the grace of God, Ghana will not experience any war, regardless of the outcome of the 2024 general elections. The will of Ghanaians will always prevail. Well, that's a statement from the NPP. In subsequent bulletins, we'll be bringing you a response from the Peace Council as they have promised to look into the concerns raised by the NDC chairman. Let's do some other stories now. A prolonged dry spell in the northern region has devastated thousands of farms, leading to widespread crop failure. Over the past 6 weeks, the region has experienced a severe lack of rainfall, causing many crops to wither. Concerned residents fear that the impact of climate change is becoming increasingly evident, raising alarms about potential threats to food security. Here's Martina Bugri with more.
Farmers in the northern region are counting their losses already following the dry spell that has hit the area. Farmers who plowed earlier around July have had to uproot their maize, waiting to replant or watch their plants wither. The situation has affected especially smallholder farmers.
Right behind me is a maize farm. To my right is an okra farm. The plants here are withering. They haven't had rains, therefore they're drying up. This has been the state in the northern region. Several acres of farmlands are drying up because there are no rains. Jesli Namasi is a smallholder farmer. He spends about $7,000 on his 5-acre farm, but fears there will be nothing to harvest.
It really is pathetic because after the tractor came to plow and I put the condemn, then I saw just a slight rain came and the maize started germinating, and since then we didn't receive any rain anymore.
So Mr. Gislin is just showing me his okra farm. Each year he harvests the okra, sells to the public and feed his family. It doesn't look like he's going to get any harvest this year.
The Muslim community in the northern region last week held prayers to appeal to God for God's intervention. But what do experts think about the occurrence?
The rainy season is almost ending, like you rightly said. So we stand to face a challenge of food shortage or insecurity somewhere next year.
The news team visited the Pekona market to assess prices of yam, considering that it's in season, but the prices have doubled.
The drought has actually impacted negatively on the yam business. Last year, we were selling the smaller size at 20 Ghana cedis, and the next to it was 30 Ghana cedis and 50 Ghana cedis. But because of the drought this season, the prices ranges from 50 cedis and above.
For many farmers in the northern region, it will take a miracle from God to turn things around. They believe that there will be shortage of food in the region. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting.
Well, away from that, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has expressed concerns over the uneven distribution of resources in the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 program. During a press conference in Accra, Executive Director of the association, Bismarck Norte, said most of their members have yet to benefit from the Phase 2 of the program, which was designed to build on the successes of the initial program while addressing its limitation. Well, the peasant farmers say the current drought in the northern region could lead to food shortage and possibly crisis if government and other stakeholders do not make urgent steps to fix the problem. They have complained about not benefiting from the One Village, One Dam policy and other flagship government programs aimed at improving agriculture.
Issue faced by farmers all over the country, especially in the northern and middle belt, is the lack of rainfall, which has caused many crops to wilt. For centuries, the Ghanaian farmer have relied on rains to nourish our crops, cultivate various types of crops, and to sustain the food security of the country. However, this year, the rains have failed and has put us in a state which we believe is quite close to the 1983 drought, and we know how devastating that effect was. The extended dry spells have left thousands of acres parched up, crops stunted, and are at the brink of crop failure in several farming communities in the Bono East, Upper West, Northern, Northeast, parts of Volta and Oti regions.
Well, a member of the Movement for Change has been caught up in a defamation suit over his publication and amplification of the controversial ABCA document in the media. Well, Mr. Hopson Adya has been dragged to court by the Achimabwakwa State Secretary, Mr. Daniel Mafo Oforiatta, for referring to him as the author and technical director of the ABCA document. The book, which content suggests a detailed strategy aimed at positioning and maintaining Achim people at commanding height in all spheres of the Ghanaian economy, has popped up once again, gaining prominence in both traditional media and social media. Well, the defamation suit, which is seeking the relief to the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis in general damages, also demands an official apology from Hopson Adya. Well, our court correspondent Latif Idrisu joins me with a breakdown of the writ of summons. Latif, tell us what reliefs are the plaintiffs seeking?
Yeah, so firstly, you just mentioned, I think, a couple of the reliefs that the plaintiff is asking the court. So let me just take it from there. So the suit, as we have it now, further seek for a declaration of a perpetual injunction refraining the defendants, whether by themselves, their servants, their agents, or assigns, from repeating the same things Hopson Adya mentioned when he appeared on the Onua TV. I mean, that was the platform on which he sat to make the allegations that is currently in the court of competent jurisdiction. So they are seeking that Hopson Adya and his assigns should be perpetually injuncted so that they don't mention anything with regards to the ABCA document vis-a-vis the Oforiatta clan, if you like. According to the writ also, about 26th of July 2024, the first defendant, and here we are referring to Hopson Adya, appeared as a panelist, if you like it, on the Onua television show and that was when he made those statements about the Ejapade document and attributed same to the Ofori Atta clan. It said, so I would like to read here verbatim, it said that the first defendant was given the unfettered and unrestrained opportunity and indeed was encouraged to run an unjustified commentary on and or amplification of a document titled Ejapade in relation to the plaintiff. The entire Ochin man inter alia, which means among other things, as follows. The statement of claim reproduced the commentary run by Hopson Adya as follows. So they go into details to state what exactly Hopson Adya said when he appeared on the show, which I think we don't want to go back into that. So let me continue with what the plaintiff is seeking. So according to the plaintiff, the document is deliberately littered with the images of the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Ochehin, Osadefo Amoetia of Oripenin, and Dr. J.B. Dankwa, the insignia of Ochehin, and scurrilous references made to the plaintiff, Ken Ofori-Atta, Nana Asante Bedietuo, among others, all subject of Ofori-Penin Fie, clearly to misrepresent it as emanating from Ofori-Penin Fie. So that is what, the plaintiff is telling the court, and they are asking for some 10 million Ghana cedis, and also for the defendant to be restrained from perpetually making these references vis-a-vis the Ofori-Penin Fie and the Ochehin firstly.
Lastly, we know that the courts are on break. Any indication when this will be heard?
We are unable to tell. Like you mentioned, the court is on a legal vacation. And so maybe we'd have to wait until October when probably we would have this case, being called within the general jurisdiction at the High Court. And then we get to know exactly how this case will pan out.
Thank you so much, Lateef Idrisu, our Legal Affairs Desk member. Now let's do some other story. Health authorities in the Bono East region are worried about the increase in number of maternal mortalities in the area. At the 2024 media review meeting in Kintampo, the Regional Health Directorate revealed a maternal task force has been instituted to curb the trend. Regional correspondent Anna Sabet has more.
2024 half-year performance review meeting of the Bono East Regional Health Directorate was held under the theme Building Resilient Structures for Universal Health Coverage and Quality, the Role of Network of Practice and Partners. Regional Director of Health Services Dr. Fred Admarko-Boateng bemoaned the increase in the number of maternal mortalities, with the region recording 73 maternal deaths between January and June this year.
If you look at maternal mortality, for 2020, the number of women who died giving birth per 100,000 live birth was 95 for 2020. 2021, it was 80. 2022, it was 85. 2023, for the year in review, it was 107. But 2024, 73, very close to the Sustainable Development Goal.
The region also recorded an institutional maternal mortality rate of 6 as at mid-year, with a target of 8 per 1,000 live births.
Then if you also want to look at the institutional neonatal mortality rate, if you look, the target is supposed to be 8 per 1,000 live births. So you look at 2020, it was 6, 2021, 8, 2022, 7.6, 2023, 8.1, 2024, it was 6. And these are what we call quality indicators. These are things that a lot goes into the processes and steps to make sure that you get a better outcome.
Dr. Mrs. Alberta Brechum Nyakun is the Director for Policy, Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Division at the Ghana Health Services Headquarters. She reiterated the relevance of the network of practice to improving healthcare, particularly in rural areas, as resources are mobilized to help improve quality healthcare.
In the urban areas, there are many facilities in a particular area. So if people want to seek healthcare, it is not difficult. And there are bigger hospitals also in the urban areas. But in rural areas like this is where we even want to form those partnerships so that even if we are few, we are stronger together and we are more empowered to reach the community.
Dr. Fred Anuaku-Boateng was, however, quick to note that as part of efforts aimed at reducing maternal deaths, the region has established a maternal task force to help educate pregnant women on what to do to ensure safe delivery.
We have formed what we call maternal task force, led by obstetrician and gynecologists. And their duty is to make sure that all these recommendations that spring up from the audits are implemented across.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Kintampo.
Well, let's speak to the Bono East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Anuaku-Boateng. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. First of all, educate us. What is accounting for the rise in maternal mortality in the region?
Good morning to my listeners. The name is Anuaku-Boateng.
Okay.
No, Anuaku-Boateng. So it's Fred Anuaku-Boateng.
Okay, noted.
Okay,
please make your point.
Yes. So there are a number of causes for, but I have to make this submission that despite all these figures that Bono East is recording, we are still within the range as stipulated by what Ghana wants to achieve. So you look at the standard of maternal mortality that we are looking for a region to achieve, to be able to make sure that we are going closer to the SDG 3, that says that by 2030, every country should have less than 70 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. So if you even look at what we are discussing, I'll just give you some figures. You see that we are just within the range and getting closer. But we believe that, look, we don't even have to allow for even one maternal death because of a lot of the repercussions, social, economic, and all those. So I'll just give you some figures and put the discussion in perspective. So if you look at 2020, half year, maternal mortality per 100,000 live birth was 95. And then you look at 2021, it was 8. Then 2022, it was 85. But 2023, we were almost 100. Though we were within the range, it was cause for alarm for us. What was happening for us to get out of range, despite what we were doing? So we had to put in mechanisms in, and I'll come to what was causing for that. And then 2024, as we are discussing half year, we have been able to reduce it to 73, almost closer to the SDG. But come to the point, what was causing that? Even if you look at all the indicators that we look at to stem the rising figures of maternal mortality, I'll give you some figures. So 2020, the skilled delivery, the women who are going to deliver, the WHO criteria is saying that they should be delivered by skilled midwives. So if you look at even 2020, 66% of women who were delivered by skilled personnel. If you look at 2021, 68% of them were delivered by skilled personnel. 2020, 68% of them were delivered by skilled personnel. Surprisingly, 2023, where we had an alarming rise in the maternal mortality ratio, 68% of them were even delivered by skilled personnel, which then indicated that why should they die? But even if you look at 2024, you see that the skilled attendance is to 62%. They are seeing some trend in that. And not only maternal mortality ratio, we have noticed that all the other quality indicators, i.e., you are looking at neonatal mortality rate, you are looking at stillbirth rate, for this year, they have reduced drastically. And that come to firm what we believe. 60% of all maternal deaths, 60% of all maternal deaths occur during delivery, labor. So it means that if attention is not paid during this area, the woman can attend ANC several times, 8 times, 9 times. But if we don't really pay attention to these quality issues at the point of labor and after labor, we lose them. And that has been our focus for this year. So if you ask me what are we doing, the task force now, our focus has been, we look at maternal mortality every quarter. We don't even wait for the 6 months. And when we see any deaths occurring, it's the duty of maternal force to look at what actually caused this death during labor and the follow-up. What we saw previously was that all the recommendations that we made, especially during the audits, that we were supposed to implement to avoid all these, were not being followed. So the task force duty is really to look at, okay, so what was the cause of this death? Did we lack any logistics? Was it monitoring? Was it supervision? Was it referral? And then we follow to that. So you see that though the skilled delivery has reduced to 62% as compared to 68% in the last year, the quality has improved. And this is affirming the fact that, look, it's not only coverages, it's not only increasing coverages, the number of ANC that you are, no, it's the content of the coverage, the asset. When people meet the interface of the staff and the patient, it's not only measuring the blood pressure. Are you measuring the blood pressure well? And then are you using the blood pressure to make sure you put in intervention that should avoid any pregnancy in hypertension, which is difficult to manage? And that is what we are doing as Bruno, is to nip all this in the bud. So if you ask me, the game changer for this particular year has been really looking and then talking about if there is no quality, there is no access. Mind you, you know, the universal health coverage has been saying that, look, everybody should have access, and we can discuss access in terms of geography, money, scale, or that. But the caveat is without quality, there is no access. So the person can come 10 times, but the service that you are giving to this, the woman, is it really meeting standards? Are you really looking at? And I'll say that will be the game changer for us. We are aiming at the end of the year, for the first time in Brunei, we want to hit less than 70 maternal deaths per 100,000. And not only that, we will begin to go and then look at counts.
Unfortunately, we run out of time, Dr. Fredge. I'm sure in subsequent bulletins we'll expand on this conversation as we look at the measures you're putting in place to curb this tide. Now, let's do some other stories now. The Electricity Company of Ghana is pursuing a mining site in a community in the central region, the Amanze Central Municipality, for illegal power connection in its operation. An inspection of the site revealed the ECG's transformer had been tampered with by bystanders and also individuals in the community, leading to 2 million Ghana cedis illegal connection and consumption for 1 year. There's more in this report by Clinton.
2022, ECG reviewed a staggering loss of about $400 million to illegal connections. In the Amanse Central Municipality in the Ashanti region, the ECG has uncovered an illegal power connection feeding an undisclosed mining site in the Akatechieso community. Preliminary assessment indicates over 2 million cedis worth of power has been consumed over 12 months. Kwekuba is the revenue protection manager for ECG Ashanti South.
We were here a week ago, exactly a week ago, for inspection, as my boss has already elaborated further. But we realized that the seals to our meter were broken. All the 2 seals were broken. So we got alarmed. When we entered into the meter, we opened the meter cover, we realized that a wire has been used to bypass the original circuit that is in the meter.
owner of the site, identified as Michael Owusu, has been engaged by the company awaiting legal action. The distressed action, tagged Operation Fix the Bill, launched into the deep by the ECG, is to ascertain the legality of electricity consumption across the country. The team made a stop to check some commercial stores in the Obuasi township owing electricity bills spanning over 4 months. The team was led by Engineer Daniel Mensah-Ansari, General Manager of ECG Ashanti South. He cautioned consumers to pay for the power they use and report any anomaly they identify to avoid legal implications.
The most important reason is also to rake in the needed revenue, because we need the money so badly for ECG to be able to operate or provide its services. So we are taking this opportunity to inform, caution and warn all our consumers, anybody who is using electricity, that he should pay for the power he or she is using.
The Operation Fix the Bill, launched into the deep, is an effort by the Electricity Company of Ghana to wreak more revenue for the company, as well as to improve services. And the exercise that we have witnessed today is to serve exactly that purpose. For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Well, let's get on the phone lines now and speak to my colleague Clinton Yeboah, who joins me more for our earlier story. Clinton, which other areas did the ECG task force visit, and has there been any arrests so far?
All right, Posty, the Operation Fix the Bill launch into the deep is, it's a campaign launched by the ECG, and particularly for Kumasi South, they are targeting 7 districts, which are their catchment areas. The districts include New Odibiasi, they are going to Asokwa. They would also make a stop at Bekwai, there is Dunkwao, Mansun Kwanta, Obuasi, and Adansi South. And particularly in Obuasi district, in the Amansia Central, where we made a stop yesterday, the operation was premised on recouping the losses that the ECG has been incurring from illegal connections from the area, and particularly about the an intel received by the company. There was a mining site which had an illegal connection for over years, and so they had to follow up on the intel and go and ascertain the themselves. And the question about whether arrests have been made or not is true. An arrest was made particularly for the person involved, or the person who is purported to be the owner of this particular site, called one Michael Owusu. He was arrested and granted bail. And according to the company, now they are looking and investigating further into the situation. And the stops that were made in Obuasi Township, they randomly chose houses to investigate and houses to inspect. And surprisingly, these random houses that were chosen, it's so surprising to see that all the stores within one house that they made a stop had all of the stores, owing bill. And so they took the initial step by first disconnecting their light, secondly, issuing an official caution, and then also giving them a bill for the months that they have not been paying the bill. And the implication will come after they are able or not able to forfeit or fulfill the amounts that they have been awarded as a punishment.
Thank you, Clinton Yeboah. Now let's do some other stories now. At the ABCA Junction on the busy Achimota-Accra Highway, a disturbing sight greets commuters every day. A heap of rubbish left unattended for days, turning the bustling junction into an area of neglect and decay. My colleague Jacqueline Azuma-Yeboah has more in the following report.
As you approach ABCA Junction, the stench hits you first, followed by the overwhelming sight of a heap of rubbish piled high, forgotten and festering under the sun. The rubbish which seems to grow larger by the day, includes everything from food waste to plastic bags and even worn-out political party flyers, which have now become part of the filth they seek to promote. These flyers, symbol of hope and change, have now become part of the problem, fading into the background, only to be swept away by the wind, adding to the already alarming pile of waste. For those who commute along the stretch of Achimota-Accra Highway, this is not just an eyesore, it's a health hazard.
By the time we arrive in the morning, papers will be scattered everywhere, and we have to sweep them up and pile them over there. Sometimes, the trash can sit here for 2 to 3 weeks before Zoom Lion comes to collect it.
Every day, I pray. Every day, I pray. I'm never far. I'm the only one fan in Tibet. My 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm finna babe far. I am so bad, Kasa.
This issue concerns us, but we can't speak up about it. When the police have been here, passing cars often hit it. Recently, a large black bin was provided, but someone stole it, and since then, there hasn't been a replacement. So, the rubbish just gets piled up there. It takes a long time for the collectors to come, and some people even bring their trash from home and dump it here. When flyers get torn up, we simply sweep them away. We are asking the authorities to provide us with a bin that won't be stolen or hit by cars.
Everyone send body so flowers no dia kogu na zoom land say zoom lion it say 2 days no maya negu onu san yeah by this time no dia ya play wie ti abeba ji sa na pa bi one ma anapa ye beba no sa tete zoom lion for no beba be pla de egu onu na ka na ba be sisa ombenya ti say bibia omdu beba be si ho no ma on
my left-hand side is a heap of rubbish unattended to for days. But behind me and still on my left-hand side are political party banners and some church banners. Well, residents and people around tell me that sometimes these banners and flyers plastered all over the walls fall off and so make rubbish and find its way to this place.
But the cycle continues.
Peasant Junction is more than just a stop on the Achimota-Accra Highway. It's a reflection of our shared responsibility to keep our environment clean. Reporting from Peasant Junction, I am Jacqueline Ansma Yeboah.
Well, you're still watching News 6. We'll be back with business, so stay tuned in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Drought. The Mine Workers Union has served notice it will hit the streets if the government fails to revoke the mining lease of Future Global Resources Limited, operators of the Bogoso Pristine mines, after the August 17 timeline given to the mining firm. Now, the union contends that Future Global Resources has not demonstrated sufficient financial capability to effectively manage the mine since assuming control in 2020. The union says it is surprising that despite a recommendation from the Minerals Commission to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources to revoke the license of the mining company, it has not yet done so. Here's General Secretary Abdul Mumin Bana.
If by 17th August, and indeed, given the conditions that he outlined in the directive, they haven't been able to meet any of them. If it's about payment of salaries, which he directed that it ought to be done by the 30th of May, they have reneged in that direction. And so that is condition number one that they violated. Condition number two, they were supposed to raise the needed capital, get the mine up and running. As I speak to you now, the mine practically is shut. There's absolutely nothing going on there. And so what we are saying is that in your own conditional approval, these guys have violated these directives, with impunity. And so the point is, the minister ought to know by now that FGR simply do not have the capacity to run the place. So they must give way for others. And so that is the demand that we are making. And we are saying We are saying, and it's a matter of course, if the minister himself does not take steps to ensure that his own integrity and the high office that he occupies should be taken seriously by proceeding to withdraw or terminate these mining leases, then the union and the communities of Bogoso and Prisia will have no option. We will deploy every means possible to ensure that the place is up and running.
Now, have you thought about securing a year's discount on some interior decor, furniture, kitchenware, and other household items? Well, that awaits you when you visit one of the sponsors and exhibitors at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, Lesh Fortunes, a company specializing in interior decor. Chief Executive Lilia Hazima Nafra has been speaking to Joy Business about the deals that await prospective customers.
Interior decor is trending now, but for a professional touch that'll leave your visitors amazed, meet the CEO of Lesh Fortunes Limited.
My name is Lilia Hazima Nafra, CEO Lesh Fortune Limited. We have the blues and the grays. These are what we call the loop pile, as for heavy traffic areas. For years you walk and you won't see the path. So these ones we recommend for offices and for places where people walk in and out a lot. And all of this will be at the fair at a discounted price.
Produces top-notch furniture.
We do bespoke furniture, so office desks, cabinets, wardrobes for homes. We do kitchen cabinets.
All right, so mark the date, 30th of August to the 1st of September, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. And that's it for this segment. The news continues after the break.
Or you're still watching News Text. That's it for the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Savo. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.